down and take a listen to the brand new album, and I've got to say congratulations. This is a fantastic album.
Oh, sweet, yeah. Glad you like it.
So tell us a little bit about what kind of goals and what you guys wanted to achieve when you went into the studio to work on this album this time around.
Well, we just wanted, we just got rid of, basically we just went in with, we just started listening to everything we were listening to when we were kids, you know what I mean? We were listening to absolutely everything from Alice in Chains to Typo Negative to Linkin Park to Limp Bizkit, and we just thought, you know what, let's just go back to what we really enjoyed listening to, you know, and we've got such a broad spectrum of bands we listen to as a band, you know. Chaz listens to more pop stuff, and Scott loves his, you know, like shreddy solos, and you know, etc., etc. You know, everyone likes their own different things. So to go in, we just didn't have any conceptions. We just wanted to go in and just write what felt natural and felt good, and we just were able to come up with some really banging riffs, we think. And but, you know, we went in with Sam Bloor, and he worked his magic, and thankfully we came up with a cracking album. And I think, I think it's going to be really good. You know, I think you'll all appreciate it.
I've been doing a similar thing recently where I've been asked to screenwrite a piece that's set in the 90s. So I've been going back and listening to the music that I grew up in that I grew up listening to. What was that like for you, going back and listening to the music that you grew up listening to?
Oh man, it was such a bit. To be honest, it was a bit of a obviously some of the stuff you think, oh my god, you know, I mean, what the hell was that? What the hell was I thinking? But you know, you can still look at it and take away some things. You know, you can still think, oh, that's a good line or that's a good hook. But you know, there's complete albums I forgot I used to love as a kid, and you know, there's bands I completely forgot about. You know, and I totally fell back in love with them, and it's just been really nice to just kind of get back what inspired me to pick up my instrument and made me fall in love in music in the first place. You know, these great music and these really great and weird, obscure albums that you listen to when you're 13, you know.
And what was inspiring you lyrically? Like, was it the actual tracks that you were listening to back then that was inspiring the lyrics, or was it things that you were going through right now?
No, the lyrics are all... they're all kind of very cathartic and very, you know, very personal to Chaz, the singer. Unfortunately, he can't be the site he's working, but they're all very personal to Chaz, and in some respect that I find personally that's the way of him releasing his demons. You know, he spoke about it to me in his past that, you know, everyone has these traumas or these problems or, you know, these conceptions they have about who they should be or who they should present themselves as, you know, in the eyes of whoever, you know, and everyone has these problems they deal with, and I think Chaz's way of releasing his demons, so to speak, is to write these dark lyrics and lift, you know, scream at the world, you know, screaming his problems, and that's how he deals with it.
Does that surprise you sometimes when you sit down and read his lyrics, because you realise that he's been going through something or experiencing something that you didn't know about?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, this album was quite a shock, actually. Some of the things, you know, when we were in the studio and he's in the booth, obviously, and he's recording his vocals, and, you know, he's chopping and changing lines here, and he's working on bits, and you think, fuck, man. You know, you actually take a step back and you actually, you know, listen to what the dude's saying rather than, you know, on the performance or whatever when you're in the studio. But you actually take what the words mean. It's quite deep, man. You know, you do kind of look at the dude in a different light almost, you know. But I respect him for it. I think, you know, he writes from the heart. He writes what's honest. I mean, he writes what he knows about. You know, he's not making up lies, and he's not trying to sell you something. He's not fully educated about, you know what I mean? He's singing about his life, you know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah. And was it difficult to get together to record this album? Because I know with lockdowns and quarantine rules and everything like that, especially here in Australia, we were in lockdown for 240 days in the end. Was it difficult for you guys to get together to work on the album in the same room?
It was a bit awkward at first, you know. We were all kind of primed and ready. We were literally... You know, we were primed to set, and then obviously COVID hit, and then, as you say, it kind of devastated us all. So we all had to kind of, wait around and see what the lay of the land was like. And after a while, thankfully, we could get in the studio, but we've been the stuff had been well rehearsed and well practiced, and we would spend a lot of time with Sam, as I said. Sam Blow, our producer, he was a massive help on this album for us, almost like a sixth member. So we've been doing a lot of pre-production, so we kind of knew the songs. We were breathing them, and we were in and out of that studio for weeks and months before the lockdown. So we kind of knew the songs before we went in. So it wasn't so easy. So when we went in, we kind of blitzed it out in a few weeks, and it was pretty easy. So fortunately, we were able to manage it with all the lockdowns. But it was tough for a time,
Yeah.
And it is still tough, We're still all recovering.
Did you have an album planned for that time? Because I know you guys were supposed to be touring pretty heavily, but that tour was cancelled because of the quarantines and everything. Were you planning on doing an album at that time, or did that kind of come about because the band were off the road?
No, we were planning on doing an album, but it just took a bit longer than we anticipated to get out. Obviously, just with the lockdowns and COVID. But we were full bent on getting an album out. We were once we wrote one or two songs, like we said, and we weren't holding anything back, and we let go of our misconceptions of what we should or what we felt like we should, and we just did it for the pure sake of and the fun, and brought all the fun back into it, like we were when we were younger. The songs just flowed out, and after that, we were sat on loads, So it's like you almost have to whittle them down.
Yeah. And where are you at now with everything with lockdowns and that? Are you able to go out and play shows now?
Yeah, we're just managing to get. We did it too. Thankfully, we were able to get out a few months back and play a couple of festivals. Obviously, with social distancing and all that, but things are slowly opening up back in the UK now. So we've got a couple of tours next year. We're in January. We've got some release shows next week. Obviously, when the album releases on the 19th of November. So then we've got one in London and one in Stoke, our hometown, and then we've got a tour with Dead Hearts in January, and that's looking good. So we've got some dates coming through now. So thankfully, it looks like things are picking up, and hopefully we won't be going back into any lockdown soon.
What was that first show like when you got back out on stage? That must have felt like you guys were animals being let back out into the wild again.
Oh man, it was such a like I was saying earlier about the way Chaz kind of releases his demons or his frustrations or his angers in his lyrics. I feel like that's my yoga session, bro. I know it might seem crazy to people, but that half an hour of me, windmilling my hair and whipping my bass around, that's me releasing my my pent up anger and all my issues, and I do, that's my stress release,
Yeah.
I just love it, man. So it was so fantastic just to get back out and to see people enjoying the show again. It's just nice, man. You know what I mean? You just miss it. You just miss a gig. You don't realise just how much until you actually got back there, and you're just like, oh man.
Yeah.
The floor was sticky and the toilet stank. Oh, I missed it all. Yeah, man. Yeah, I miss it.
Oh, this has been the longest period of time that I haven't been to a show, I think, since I was a teenager. We were kind of lucky. The week that we went into lockdown the first time, that week I saw Alice Cooper, Tool, and Scorpions all in the 1 week, and then it was just like, nothing for 2 years here. It's been so strange.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a real big blast, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Adrenaline hit to keep you going. Yeah.
How did you keep going during that time? Like you mentioned that playing live is your way of letting out stress. How did you cope with that? But when you didn't have that opportunity to play live?
I think, well, for me personally, I think lockdown again. The inspiration of kind of looking back to what we were, our former influences were when we were younger. Getting back into the stuff that made us pick up our instruments in the first place. It made me want to start learning that stuff again. Relearn it. So I was learning a lot more Sabbath stuff and old Rush, and I was just noodling around on my bass and being a proper geek for about a year and a half. So I'm no Billy Sheehan now, but I can play a couple of Sabbath riffs like a fucking boss. Yeah, man.
So, for our listeners out there some of them are probably a lot younger than what you and I are, What are your go-to albums from your childhood when you really want to go back and reflect on music? What are the go-to albums that you go back to?
Oh man. Well, it was the 30th anniversary of the Black album recently, and man, I used to have that on my little Walkman when I was doing my paper rounds. That was a big thing for me when I was a kid. So yeah, man, that album. Yeah, anything by Sabbath. Thankfully, I had some kind of cool parents, so thankfully a lot of Sabbath was around the house. So that was always easy for me to just reach out a hand and some kind of Sabbath album was in my hand. So
Awesome.
yeah, I think Geezer was a big influence, and yeah, man, I just love that stuff. Love Ozzy.
So going back to recording the album, you mentioned before that you felt like your producer was the sixth member of the band on this album. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what he's like to work with and what he brings to your music.
Sam's he's really a cool dude, man. He's really laid back. But, I say laid back and everyone thinks, oh, he's just going to be laying there. No, I don't know how to say it. When you say laid back, it almost sounds like an insult, but the dude's chill, man. But he's so focused on the tracks and the music, and he's got some kind of wizard ear, man. He's got some kind of inner ear or something. He can hear frequencies like only dogs and cats can hear. Like he can pick shit out, and then just some studio wizardry, and then oh man, that sounds 1,000 times. I don't know, man. He's an audio wizard, man. But he really he could hear stuff in the songs, and he could hear potential in songs that obviously maybe we couldn't at first, or I don't know, maybe we were just a bit hesitant to try certain styles. So, and like I said, when we were getting rid of those misconceptions and going back to what made us pick up the instruments in the first place. So when he was kind of going to the studio, maybe that needs a bit more like an AC/DC type thing or something there, you know what I mean, or whatever the hell it was, an Alice in Chainsy type chorus and things, and we would just go with it, and we'd go with these inspirations, whatever the hell it was, or the drop of a hat, and 9 times out of 10 they worked. He was just a great guy to work with, man. So we won't work with anybody else now, unfortunately. For everybody else out there, we're kind of married to Sam, and we think he's got a great sound.
Well, he's certainly created an absolutely magnificent album with you guys this time around. I know we are running out of time very, very quickly, so to finish up, I'd just like to ask, what would you like to say to all your Australian fans out there before they go out and grab the album next week?
Oh man, well, we'd like to thank you very much for coming to checking us all out in the first place. We know it's been a while since our release, so we'd like to thank you all for holding on there. But I think it'll be worth the wait. This album's gonna definitely kick some ass, man. I can't wait for you guys to hear it, and I hope we all get out of this COVID stuff, and let's have a party about let's get us over there touring, and you can come see us live. That'd be wicked.
Awesome.